The reading and writing section of the SAT will always follow the same layout. That means that the order of the questions will always be the same. So here's the most recent practice test on Bluebook, it's the 10th one, but instead of being on the actual app, I'm on a PDF with screenshots of all the questions. Pretty much the same thing. Anyways, the first 4 to 5 questions will always be vocab questions. So here you can tell in the answer choices, you have vocab words and you have to choose which one best fits the text. Usually this will be the first 4 to 5. In this test, it goes to question number 5. And then from 6 to 15, you have your really long text questions. So that would be stuff like main idea and main purpose. You also have cross-text questions where they give you 2 texts and you have to compare them. You also have some questions on tables and graphs, like this one where you have to get data from it. And you also have inference questions where you have to fill in the blank at the very end. So this will usually go to about question 15. In this case, it goes to exactly 15. Dang, I'm on it. Anyways, then from about 16 to 21 is gonna be the grammar and punctuation questions. So I mean, choose a correct punctuation, choose a correct grammar, all that good stuff. In this test, it goes to question 20. So it can be off by 1 or 2, but it's usually gonna be around that range. And then from 22 and 23, that's gonna be the transition questions. In this case, it started at 21. And your transition questions are pretty much similar to vocab questions. I mean, you have to choose the correct word to put in the text. And then finally, from 24 to 27, you have these bullet point questions. So this will always be at the very end of the test. So here's module 2, and let's test it again. We know that the first 4 to 5 should be vocab. So here, the first 4 questions are vocab. And then from about 6 to 15 should be the questions that ask about main idea. So here it's gonna be from 5 to 14. So this one, it started early and it also ended early. And then from about 16 to 21 would be the grammar and punctuation. Here it starts at 15 and it goes to 20. So once again, it's also off by a little bit. And then from 22 and 23, those are usually the transition questions. Here transitions start at 21 and go to 23. I lied, it goes to 24. I should have scrolled down. Alright, well, anyways, the very last questions, so here 25 to 27 will be the bullet point questions. Alright, so why is it important to know the order of the type of questions on the SAT? Well, it's because you always want to do the easiest questions first. Now, I know a lot of people like to get the hard stuff out of the way while their mind is still fresh, but not on the SAT, you do not. Okay, not on the SAT. So the trick is to always do the first 5 questions, skip everything in the middle, and then do everything at the end. So here you want to do the first 5 vocab questions, because these are going to be really hit or miss. I mean, you either know the vocab word or you don't. If you know the word, great, you get the points. If you don't, you get the question wrong and you move on with your life. Of course, you could always visit it at the end if you have time to double check and do all that stuff. So here you do the first 5 vocab questions. And then from about 6 to 15, the questions in the middle, these are the questions where you actually have to read. I mean, there's no getting around it. You have to find the main purpose, the main idea, or you even have to compare 2 different texts. So not only do you have to read it once, you might even have to read it twice to truly understand everything. And can we be honest here? No one likes reading, right? I mean, it's one thing if you're reading yaoi, but it's a whole different thing if you have to read about impressionist painters. No one cares about that. So if you end up reading these first, you're gonna get so burnt out by the end of the test. Look at all these paragraphs you have to read. No one wants to do all that. So instead, just skip all of these questions in the middle and go straight to the grammar and punctuation questions. So those start at about question number 16, right here. Now on the actual test, it might be a little bit off. I mean, it could be off by 1 or 2 questions, as we saw. So you want to just click around until you get to the beginning of the grammar and punctuation questions. Alright, now these questions should be really easy as long as you know your grammar rules. If you know all your grammar rules, the most reading you have to do is like 1 sentence. And on some of them, you don't even need to read it. You can just look at the answer choices. So these will go by really quickly. And now you can just go straight to the end of the test. You have these transition word questions. If you know the transition words, great, you get the question right. If you don't know the word, well, tough luck, you get the question wrong, but at least you didn't spend that much time on it. And then finally, you have the bullet point questions. And these are so easy because you don't even need to read the bullet points. You can just look straight at the answer choices. So even less reading. And then boom, you already finished half the test. I mean, the first 5 questions and then 16 to 27, that's like what? 15 out of 27 questions? You just got yourself a free 500 points on the SAT while reading maybe 10 sentences max. You do not have to do that much reading, and it won't take you that much time at all. Now you maximize your points. Your mind is still extremely fresh. You got through all of the easy questions, you got through all the guaranteed points, and now you can go back to question number 6 through 15, where you actually have to read. Yeah, it sucks, but there's no getting around it. At least you got the easy questions out of the way first. You know that for sure you got those questions right because your mind is still fresh, you didn't feel suicidal taking the test yet, and you definitely locked in your answer. Now you can just take your time reading these questions because you already know. You spent 5 minutes on the other 15 questions, now you have 25 minutes left on these really long questions. Well, I just yapped for 10 years straight, but the moral of the story is, skip all the hard questions in the middle 6 through 15, because you don't want to experience burnout before you get to the really easy questions at the very end. If you end up reading through all of these paragraphs and then you get really fatigued from it, you might make a really dumb mistake on a grammar question that you could have easily gotten correct had you just paid more attention to it. You could also potentially feel rushed because these questions in the middle can take a very long time. Personally in Module 2, it feels like there's never a right answer for these inference questions. I mean, there's one answer choice that's obviously wrong, then there's one that's less wrong than the other, and then there's one that's the least wrong, and that would end up being the correct answer choice. But it never sounds right. And this happens on every single test. If it's on a practice test or the actual SAT or on a PSAT, it always happens, and I literally get annoyed at it every single time. If I got mad mid-test and then I had to do a stupid grammar or punctuation question after that, I'd unironically just guess and then take a nap. I'm not doing that, okay? So please just skip all the hard questions first. Do not try to be different. Save yourself the stress and get all the easy ones out of the way first. Make sure you get those points before you move on to the middle questions where the SAT starts playing mind tricks on you.